It was day 12. We were lying on her couch, my arm around her, watching some Netflix show I wasn't paying attention to. She turned to me, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, "I really like you. Like, I haven't felt this way about anyone in years." I felt it in my chest, that click, that moment where you think, this is it, this is going somewhere. By day 14, she was gone. Not physically, she didn't move away, but emotionally, she might as well have been on another planet. Text took 4 hours. The warmth evaporated. When I asked if she wanted to get dinner that weekend, she said, "I think I need some space to figure out what I want." If this pattern sounds familiar, 2 weeks of intensity followed by a sudden ice age, you're stuck in what I call the anxious-avoidant trap. And here's the cruel twist. It feels like love when it's happening, but it's actually just attachment chemistry misfiring. This happened to me with a woman named Rachel. We met on Hinge. By date 3, she was sending me voice memos about her childhood. By date 5, we were spending entire weekends together. She was vulnerable, present, initiating physical touch, all the green lights. Then, right when I started to relax and think, okay, I can stop trying so hard, she's mine, she hit the eject button. The misread isn't that she faked her feelings. She didn't. In those first 2 weeks, she meant every word. The "I really like you" was real. The vulnerability was real. But here's what I didn't understand. She has an intimacy threshold. And the moment we crossed it, her nervous system treated closeness like danger. Let me break down the psychology. In 2026 dating culture, especially for women 26-35 who've had trauma or chaotic past relationships, there's a specific attachment style called anxious-avoidant or fearful-avoidant. It's the worst of both worlds. They crave intimacy desperately, that's the anxious part, but when they actually get it, they panic and run, that's the avoiding part. The cycle works like this. Phase 1 is just idealization. She projects all her unmet needs onto you. You're perfect. You're the one who's finally different. She love bombs not to manipulate you, but because she genuinely feels euphoric that someone safe finally sees her. But then comes phase 2, deactivation. Once you reciprocate, once you say, "I really like you too," and start planning future dates, her subconscious screams trap, vulnerability equals pain, escape. It's not logical, it's a survival mechanism. She'd rather ghost you at the peak than risk being abandoned later when she's even more attached. I thought I did something wrong on that 12th day. I replayed the couch scene 1,000 times. Did I squeeze her too hard? Did I say something weird when I agreed that I liked her too? Was my breath bad? But it wasn't anything I did. It was the proximity itself that triggered her. I got too close, so she had to create distance to feel safe again. Here are the 3 early warning signs that separate genuine interest from the anxious-avoidant trap. Because with secure attachment, closeness creates more closeness. With this trap, closeness creates panic. Sign 1. The trauma dumping speedrun. Does she share deep, vulnerable stories about exes, family trauma, or past abuse within the first 3 dates? Not just mentions, full emotional downloads. This feels like intimacy. It feels like trust. But it's actually a test. She's seeing if you'll handle her brokenness, then assuming you'll eventually leave like everyone else, so she leaves first. Sign 2. The future pacing paradox. Does she talk about trips you should take together 6 months from now, or kids' names, or when you meet my parents, but she doesn't even know your middle name yet? Secure people build futures brick by brick. Anxious-avoidant people sketch entire blueprints on day 4 because the fantasy feels safer than the reality. When reality arrives, the actual work of relationship, they burn the blueprint. Sign 3. The hot-cold amnesia. When she pulls away, does she act confused when you mention how intense she was just days ago? I don't remember saying that. Or, I was just caught up in the moment. This isn't gaslighting. She literally dissociates from the vulnerability once the panic sets in. The person who loved you on Tuesday and the stranger who ghosted you on Friday? Same body, different nervous system states. So here's the fix. It's called the pacing protocol, and it feels completely counterintuitive. When she starts speeding up, when she wants to see you 5 nights in a row, when she's trauma dumping, when she's future faking, you have to be the one to pump the brakes, not by pulling away or playing games, but by saying, "I really like you too, but I want us to take this slow so it lasts. Can we see each other twice this week instead of every night?" This does 2 things. 1, it proves you're not going to abandon her the moment she's vulnerable you're staying, but you're regulating the temperature. 2, it prevents her nervous system from hitting that panic threshold. You're building a staircase instead of an elevator. But here's the harder truth. You cannot love someone into secure attachment. If she's not in therapy, not self-aware, not actively working on her patterns, you become the sacrifice that proves her theory that all men leave when she pushes them away. She'll sabotage it just to say, "See, I knew he'd leave." I stayed for 3 cycles with Rachel, hot, hot again when she got lonely, cold when I got too close. I became addicted to the chaos because the highs were so intoxicating, but eventually I realized I was confusing anxiety for chemistry. My nervous system was dysregulated, not connected. The relationship felt like work because it was damage control, not building. You deserve consistency, not intensity. You deserve someone who doesn't treat closeness like a threat. Drop cycle in the comments if you've been through this push-pull pattern, or pacing if you're going to try the brake pump strategy on your next date. Stop being the emotional trampoline she bounces on when she's lonely. Start being the standard she has to meet with stability.